How you doing? Dan here again with the 30-foot dory build. On one of my last videos, and I almost questioned if I should have posted or not. I made a blunder. I made 5 stands at a certain width, assuming that the boat is so wide, the hull is so wide, that I can fit all 5 stands underneath the boat. Well, I went through the trouble of building all 5 stands, and after I sat down after the build, making a video, I got a little chair in the corner right here, and I was just staring at the stands, and then I thought, I think I made a mistake. So I go and get the plan sheet. It's a study sheet from Jeff Spira International. You can get this off his website. You can get the sheet off his website. It's a study sheet. Now, I started looking at this sheet for some reason real hard after I built the stands, because in my head I thought I knew what I was doing. But if you'll notice here, forward, the hull tapers. I don't even know why I didn't even take that in consideration. So what I'm doing here is I'm apologizing and letting you know that I made a very large mistake. And I'm learning from it, and I hope anybody that sees this video will learn from it too. Okay? So the first 3 stands will go in the stern of the boat there. You can see there's a lot of room there. But about halfway forward, it tapers. So you're never going to get a 33-inch stand in there. So, after dawning on this, after I built the stands, sitting in my lovely little chair staring at them, a light went on. Stands were too wide. As simple as that. So, anyway, make a long story a little shorter, I didn't lose any wood. I altered one stand to make it narrower. I used the materials from that stand to fix another stand, and I was left with one piece of 2x4 that was exactly the right height for my single stand. So this goes right in the front, right? The strong back will go through here, and wherever the measurements end that 2x8, there'll be an angle cut there, and that will finish the front. So I need a single in the front, and I have it. The second stand back, it's this little baby here. Now what I'm doing here is that this is further back towards the back, but still in the front half of the boat. This fits in between almost 5 and 6. I took the measurements off the plans. What I probably should have thought about this in the first place, but it was an oversight. So I narrowed the stand down. And what do we got here? I might as well let you know what I did. From 36 to 21. So a 36 obviously wide stand would not fit in a 21 wide. So this is why I narrowed down the stand. Okay, so that's number 2. This wasn't hard to do. It just was sort of set me back that I didn't think of this in the first place. And I think I spent an hour and a half fixing up my mistake. Now this is stand number 3. This one's 29.5 inches wide. Sorry, here we go. Okay, so see if I can show you this here now. Now the smaller stand that goes in front of this stand, the strong back is going to ride right inside here. It's going to go from the narrower stand inside this stand. So the 2x8 strung back here will actually go back and ride inside the 33-inch. So they're all the same height. They're just stepping in from the front single to a double narrow, and one more time going to the inside the 33 for the stern. Well, now the reason why I'm doing this is very simple. As I mentioned in my previous videos, that I have a knee problem, which was fixed, but I still have issues, right? You're never perfect. So I don't like to overstress my knees anymore. So I'm building a double strong back to build this boat on. The hull is inverted when it's built, and I need stability. It's originally designed to go on a single strong back right from front to back. Well, I just didn't see the stability in that. I really didn't. And the structure does get heavy, especially when you start throwing on the 3/4 inch plywood. And seeing the way my knees are, I just thought it'd be a real good idea to just build it on a double strong back from front to back. And of course the single would come but to the shorter one here, and it would rest. So everything's supported very well by the following stand. Now these will also be fastened with screws inside here. So basically, of course, we got this. The screws will go in here, as well as being leveled off with a level throughout all the stands before the boat gets built, of course. And this is, like I said, 2x8 material. Will run through here like that throughout the whole structure. As I said in my last video, before I screwed up this whole project, I had a bunch of scrap 3/4 inch. I dumped throughout my scrap for this purpose. I was able to make 30 of these, which was planned to use for these supports to hold the strong back in place. So it's worked out pretty good. So what I have to do today is I have to make 2 blocks like this one to set into the next frame support. Now I'm a little tight on materials here. Last time I was working in the basement. I have this, I don't know, utility shelf on wheels, and I had put my saw on it, and the saw fell off. Actually, it fell down and hit my puzzle table down there, and then nothing was damaged. The saw's okay, the table's good. My bad. So today I put up my table. I don't know, 6x2, 6x26, plastic, you know, those plastic fold-up tables. I'm working on one of those today, so we don't get into the same situation, have my tools fall over on the floor. So there you go. This is my boat. Now, if I were to put it simply, I would say it looks like one big giant rowboat, and basically what it is. I'll eventually have a cabin on the front end of that. At 30 feet of Dory gives you a lot of room to do a lot of stuff in it, and that's why I went with a 30-footer. So I am collecting materials for this boat. Hopefully by the end of March I'll have everything I need to at least get the hull all assembled. Would be nice. I'm trying not to push. I'm trying to take my time. I'm getting there. You know, it's better than not being able to do it at all. You might as well just do one piece at a time or a couple of pieces at a time. And when you finally hit your deadline to start the project, hopefully you've accumulated enough product to go and start. Because once you have your frames made up, you know, the only thing left to do is to literally assemble it. Now the thing is, assembling it is fine, but there's so many other things you have to consider when you build a boat. I'm going to run through a couple of them with you. Now, I went through the material list to build the boat, and I went, okay, it's going to cost me $1,200 in materials to build the boat. That means the frame, the plywood, screws, and the strong back. Now, there's a lot of other things to consider. Number one, the strong back's going to cost you money. Wood's not free, unless you got access to wood. But I'm just talking about the everyday Joe that wants to turn around and decide to build a boat. Well, yeah, okay. So the strong back materials is number one. Now, I know there's some people out there that will copy this to the T. You know, they'll make the 5 braces, and they'll make them out of 2x8, which I'm not doing because of cost. And I'm going to reclaim the wood I'm using after I'm done for a smaller project, a boat again. And I'm thinking that way. So I am producing what I need to build a boat. I also want to use all this lumber when I'm done, the 30-footer, to build a smaller boat. And by not cutting it up in too many little pieces, I can be able to do that. So, what else do we have to consider when you build your boat? Well, fiberglass is fairly expensive, depending on how big your boat is. And epoxy is just tremendously expensive. So it's going to probably cost me, if I calculated it right, close to $1,500 in epoxy. Yeah. I called our local dealers here, and it's about $57 a liter. I couldn't believe that. I mean, $57 a liter. Might as well go out and buy gold. I don't know. But it's the only way to seal the hull because I'm not using marine ply. At $110, what was it? $110 a sheet? I think it was $110. I'm sure that's what it was. Maybe it was a little less, but it was over twice the price of plywood, regular plywood. Now, I also went and priced standard 3/4 inch straight edge plywood. $57 a sheet. Not a problem. Then I'm looking around, and there's this pile of what they call 18mm birch. Beautiful on both sides. $44.99 a sheet. Well, guess what? That's right. That's what I'm buying. Why? Because the price. Now, the smoothness of the material, as far as I can tell, doesn't matter. Because if you're going to fiberglass the hull anyway, you're going to sand it out. Well, pretty much sand it out. Which leaves you the inside of the hull. Well, the 18mm birch is beautifully finished on both sides. And that'll really finish the inside really nice if you want to paint it or gel coat, whatever you want to do. Epoxy, and at least you'll have a nice smooth finish on the inside. But due to price, that's what I'm doing. I'm going with the 18mm birch 4x8 sheet of plywood. Now, another thing I was looking at, these sheets are butted together, and it has a piece of wood over the seam that goes on the inside. I don't really like that idea. It's okay. I mean, it works. People have done it. People are doing it. But I also have seen people scarf joint the edges and use epoxy with a micro filler of some kind and clamp them together and make a long sheet. And pick up that whole section of sheeting and throw it on the boat, on the side of the hull, and screw it in place. I find that scarfing not a bad idea. You know, it eliminates that piece of sheeting there that sort of sticks out on the inside, which some people have mentioned on some videos. And I've seen it. If that's the way you have to do it, brilliant. If you have another way to do it and you think it's going to be better, hey, maybe you're going to exercise that right to do that too. So, I am thinking of doing a lap joint. I believe it's called a lap joint, where you take 2 pieces of wood and cut them up 50% and go so far back. So you're going to end up with a flat surface and 2 pieces that fit into each other. And I'm thinking, and then you fasten it going across, let it dry, and I believe that joint will suffice to wrap the sheet onto the hull instead of doing a lap joint. I just don't want to butt those sheets up because it leaves a point. It leaves a ridge there right down the center. Now, most of the boats I've seen that are doing that, if the light hits them right in the photographs, you can see that line on the outside. So to get rid of that line, you have to do some extensive sanding. I used to paint cars, so sanding is not an issue. I understand what's involved in sanding. And it's just something you got to do. So I have not decided 110 or 20% that that's what I'm going to do, but it's a thought. Take a router out half the sheet, go down maybe 12 or 15 inches, overlap the two sheets into each other, epoxy them, let them dry, and there's your two sheets connected together. And I got 3.5 sheets to put together to cover the side of this dory. Yeah, I believe it's 3.5 sheets. Okay, in a span of 30 feet. Yeah. So anyway, a little heads up. When you're going to build a boat, you got to take the cost of your fiberglass. Your epoxy is expensive. You got to take that into consideration. So you still might be shelling out several thousands of dollars to build a boat. Now, I'm not complaining. I went through all this before I committed to actually building the boat. I got the plans. I went over the plans. I phoned around. I got some prices. And like everybody else, I'm on a budget, so I'm buying things monthly. And the biggest expense for this is going to be the fiberglassing the hull with epoxy. That's all there is to it. That's the largest expense. Outside of trying to get a outboard motor for the boat. That's not included in the package. That's an extra. Be it if you buy it brand new or used. Okay? So I hope that enlightens you a little bit. Let's see now. I'm going to go ahead and add these extra supports onto these other little frames here, my strung back frames. So they're going to be ready today. They'll be all finished, ready to go. Then I can get them out of my basement, go shove them in my shed outside. I got so much wood in there, it's incredible. All my frames are out there. What are you doing here? What you doing there, buddy? My dog came down to visit. Sorry about that. I was wondering what was going on. What are you doing down here? Hey? Hey, buddy? Hey, my big Zeus. There he is. Come on. Come on in. Come. Come here. Come here. Come here. Hey. He's afraid of everything that moves. Anyway, that was fun. So I'm going to leave you with that right now. Something to think about. Take care now. Please subscribe, least like, and we'll see you on my next video.